Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome director Gavin Hood, Hailee Steinfield, Asa Butterfield. We've got Gigi Pritzker and Bob Orci.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, how are you,
sir? Please join us. Take a seat.
How are we here?
Hello. Wow, this is a lineup. This is like Hollywood royalty lineup. Lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for coming down, and welcome to London as well.
Thank you.
This film, I know, has been 4 years in the making for you, Gavin.
12 for Gigi.
12 for Gigi. Yeah. Everyone talked about this film as being the unfilmable film.
Yeah, they were right.
Was going to be the toughest movie. What was it that attracted you to go through that hardship to make it the filmable film?
Naivety, had no idea. Gigi Pritzker offered me a job. I was very happy to take it and didn't realize, literally didn't quite realize until a little later how long it had been in development. And luckily for me, I just wasn't given any of those scripts. It had been with Warner Brothers for a long time. They eventually gave up on it. Gigi optioned it. I went for a job interview, luckily got the job, and then went, oh boy, how are we going to do this? But I had great producers with Gigi and Bob Orci, and we worked on it for about a year and a half, and finally got a script together that everybody seemed to like, and then we tried to find the money. And
does that then go back to Gigi and Bob? Is that their job?
Yeah, we'll tell a funny story quickly. So we tried to raise money from the studios, didn't we? And we were in one meeting, and there was a studio executive who said, yeah, we really like your script, and we really think this is great, but you know this ending, and those of you who know the book will know that there's a wonderful, complex ending and wonderful twist, which we won't give away. But the studio executive sort of says, but this ending, and why can't they just kick the aliens' ass? That's how these movies end. So there was like this moment of panic, and we got out in the parking lot, and Gigi, before I could raise my fist, said, well, we won't be making the film here. We'll have to go find the money independently. So I'm very grateful to my producers for the opportunity to actually be as true as we possibly could to the themes and ideas in the book that we all love, and to bring those to an audience. Yeah.
So Gigi and Bob, was it a fight to keep the ending from the book for you guys? Did you ever kind of think, you know what, let's just kick the aliens' butt? What was the fight and the theory behind it, sticking to your guns, so to speak?
I don't think it was a fight. I think we agreed from the beginning. I think that's why we all liked it. I mean, Gigi, why don't you tell the story of how you actually even became aware of the book, and that'll tell you why we couldn't change it.
So my nephew, who was 13 at the time, read this book, and my nephew was someone who had a lot of learning issues and had a hard time reading. So I thought the concept that he actually read a book was shocking, but that he liked it was amazing. So I read the book, and I was blown away, and we had a long conversation, and the fact that a book could inspire a conversation between a 13-year-old boy and a middle-aged woman that was interesting and complicated, and you could dig into it, I found amazing. And he said it would make a good movie, wouldn't it? And 15 years later, here we are. And that boy just had his first child last night.
But more importantly, he has a PhD from Oxford or something.
That's correct.
Just to do justice to this.
But more importantly, he had his first child last night. It's amazing. Asa and Hailee, how aware were you of the book? I mean, because the book maybe isn't so well known here in the UK, Asa, but I know over in the States, it's almost part of your curriculum.
It is now. I think it's really interesting. A lot of my friends who are a few years older than me are reading it in school. We both read the book after we read the script, but we both agree that if it weren't for this, we definitely would have come across it at some point. We're really huge fans of science fiction alone, and now this story.
And for you, Asa, were you the same? You obviously read the book afterwards, but were you aware of anything? I mean, this book is listed in the top 10 greatest sci-fi stories of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I am, as Hailee said, I'm a huge fan of science fiction, and I did read it just after I read the screenplay, and after reading it a couple of times, I think, I mean, I fell in love with it, both that and the story, and I was talking with Gavin, and I can't remember how many conversations we had about it on Skype, but...
Yeah, a few.
Yeah, quite a few, yeah.
Going back to the fact that this book is coming up to, is it almost 30 years old?
Yeah.
Did you have to change the book? Were there any fundamental changes that you went, you know what, this needs to progress? Because I believe even Orson Scott Card's work back then, his future is kind of our future now. So did you have to push it even further for a film?
No, Bob speaks very eloquently to the future part, and I'll perhaps talk about the actual... But I always like what you say about...
A lot of people ask us, did you have to update the book a lot? And the answer is no. The book was so prescient in predicting devices that you could touch, some of which I'm going to touch as soon as I'm done here. We didn't have to update much because it was very futuristic already, and so the idea of action at a distance, things being able to be controlled by remote control, again, like devices you can touch.
The internet, the whole
internet.
Notion of,
we didn't have to do a lot, and that's what allowed us to all agree that we could be true to what the book always was, and Gavin's script was such.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, whenever you adapt a book to a movie, certain things have to change, and everybody says, why? Well, let me do my best. First of all, the book is, considerably longer than a 2-hour film. Secondly, the book takes place with a kid from age 6 years old to the age of 13. And so let's just start with that. Do you want to see a 6-year-old followed by an 8-year-old, maybe a 9-year-old, and an 11-year-old? Do you want to be changing actors on your audience through the 2-hour experience? And grandma saying, "Oh, that 8-year-old's ears are different to the 6-year-old." So.
And when you have these actors, you don't want to change.
No,
them.
you don't want to change.
Let's keep them.
Yeah, so that was the first thing. Is I looked and I thought, in the book he's 6 and he ends the story at 13, and I thought, well, let's focus on that intense part of his life at around 12 to 13, because then we can bond our audience with one actor, stick with them. There are complicated themes and ideas and character issues in this film, and to be changing the actor playing the part on the audience just when they're bonding with someone is really often not a good idea. It's fine for a flashback or a little bit here and there, but so that was the one. So first we agreed we're going to compress the time period into about 9 months to a year. And so what we do is we start with the film, he's already in a military school. So we don't have to spend time in the movie teaching him how to march, learning how to salute. But we sent these guys on an amazing space camp before the movie. And they should talk about that, because we gave them NASA astronaut instructors. We gave them, Cirque du Soleil trainers to teach them on wires. We had sergeants yelling and screaming at you and how to march. Asa, I mean...
yeah, that was a great experience. When I say great, I mean painful.
When you say great, you mean not so great, but great.
Yeah, we had so much fun doing it, and I think we really needed it, because prior to that, I'm going to say we had it pretty easy, and then there were about 100 of us, including the extras, marching down this hallway. If one person messed up, that was it. On the floor, 20 push-ups. It wasn't easy, but...
Well, let me ask you just quickly about the 20 push-ups, because there's a scene in the movie where Asa, your character Ender, stands up for himself. He gets 20 push-ups. I counted 7.
Not in the original cut.
No.
Think how many takes and how many think how many takes we did and how many angles.
Yeah.
Okay. Because then the character, then the guy says, "Now give me another 20," and I'm sorry, I still counted 7.
Another 7 and
The director's
That's on the
cut will
DVD
include
extras, right?
every push-up.
The director's original cut had you wait for those 40, and said Bobby, really, Gavin? Get him up. Anyway,
so how hard was the training for you guys? Because, I mean, you're both actors. I mean, the character depth within it is one thing, but add that to the physical side that your characters both have to go through. Do you kind of read the script going, "But this is a really deep character, this is brilliant, oh, hang on a minute, I've got to go work. I've got to work out for this"?
It's a good question. I think for both of us, neither of us had done a film with this much physicality in it, and it was a great experience working with all of the cast on it. I think it really helped us bond as well. Going through the same pain together, we were united in it.
Yeah, no, I think from a director's point of view, it's really, really wonderful to be able to have your actors spend 6 or 7 weeks before you start shooting to get all of that physical training out of the way, to learn to march, to salute, to work in the wires, to understand how they work with the Cirque du Soleil people, and then to know where the visual effects will have to take over from the wire work. And these are very complicated things. And what you don't want to do when you're shooting with a whole crew of 300 people staying around is have Ace going, "Oh, my harness is a bit uncomfortable now. I don't like that." Which you did anyway, but less so. But really just to be able to focus on the emotional performances between the actors and have all that. So when I used to be able, if we had to call 8-10, whoops, you're supposed to jump up and straight away come to attention.
Heels.
They would come to attention
It's over.
very well, and there was none of that because there's a lot of that kind of timing in the film. And on set, you want all that out of the way so that you can really focus on the relationships between the characters and the emotional beats and not be messing around with how they fit in the wires or how they come to attention, or is my salute this way or this way. All of that was ironed out by some really great drill instructors before we even started.
one of the most spectacularly visual parts is the zero gravity stuff. When you go into that room for the training, it is something that we've probably not really seen on screen before. How do you recreate zero gravity? Is it all wire work, or is it a lot of choreography? Asa, I mean, maybe you could talk a little bit about that room.
Yeah, even prior to filming, we actually had an astronaut who'd been to space, came in and showed us videos of what it was really like in space, because often you have a stereotypical look of what, in a lot of films, moving really slowly and sluggishly, but in reality it's nothing like that. And watching these videos, it gave you, it showed you what it was like in space, and to recreate that on the wires whilst giving your performance with these other actors was one of the challenges that you had to come across, and I think we did in the film.
No, you guys did great stuff.
How many hours a day are you in this harness? Are you there like 9 to 5, just stuck on a harness up in the sky and everyone's gone for lunch?
We were there for a while. I'll give you that.
Oh,
That's such a diplomatic answer.
you're very polite, Asa. But let's just be clear, they're only allowed to work 5 hours a day, poor little sods, because they've got to go to school.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
Got to go to school.
Oh, my goodness.
So that-
Hailee, talk me through what that's like. How do you study
Yeah.
and then go, hang on a minute, I'm going to work with Harrison Ford, Ben Kingsley, but I've just got to do some math first? How do you do that?
That's exactly how it works. Anytime we're not filming, we're in the classroom getting school done. We try and get in 20-minute blocks at a time, but that's hard to do sometimes. We just do here and there just to get done what we can. But it seems kind of impossible, but it works. And we had great teachers, and we were all in a classroom together, so we made lots of fun out of it.
But you have to have this infrastructure of school. I mean, we had 100 kids at some days in school because we had all the extras. So you've got a whole department that's school that's telling me when I can have the actor and when I can't, and trying to shuttle it along. So the amount of organization, and with the producers as well, you really have to be very organized to make a film like this and not waste resources,
I mean, that must add an extra element, Bob. I mean, when you're producing a movie thinking, okay, we've got kids, we've got school, are you sort of going, let's make them adults? Let's change it completely and make them 25. At which point is too much enough?
I had some schooling left myself, so I was in the class. No. It just requires preparation, and that's why the idea of all of us really, first training, the actors training together, so that on the days, as you guys can talk more about, you get there and they were already so well trained that we could get right to it and be very efficient. But I still don't know how you guys were able to do math and then go work on a movie. Incredible.
Ron Howard always talks about the fact that when he wanted to do the zero gravity stuff for Apollo 13, he made them go in the vomit comet.
We talked about it.
We did.
How come you guys got away with it?
Well, let's be clear. When you go up in the vomit comet, you kind of get what you get. Everybody spins around. In a film like this, I think what we need is very specific movements. I mean, in the script, Hailee is flying behind 2 other actors through zero gravity, engaged in a laser fight, and then is slammed into by another character and goes spinning off and hits the stuff. I mean, this is tricky stuff. You can't go up there and hope you get what you get in the vomit comet. This is really very specific. There's an enormous amount of this zero gravity stuff. So you train the moves as best you can in the harnesses, and then at certain points, and I can't even tell anymore where pure computer graphics take over. All of the face work is them, and most of the initial moves of the body. But there's a point at which the wire's twisting around your head, and you feel like you're dying. And you go, "Cut, Gavin! I'm getting off." Okay, I'm going to have to continue that move with my visual effects department. And so we had, MIT Masters in Aeronautical Engineering visual effects supervisor Matt Butler, and double PhD Greg Chamitoff, astronaut who'd lived in the space station for 6 months. And these guys coming in to work on the computer simulations and all of this incredibly complicated stuff to make sure that the zero gravity work is absolutely perfect and the physics is right.
And Gigi got us in to see Elon Musk. And
Yes.
He actually gave us some stuff.
He was actually instrumental early on because we brought the early mock-ups of how we were going to do the landings. And he was the one who said, no, the Challenger, which is the
Space shuttle.
the space shuttle from the U.S., he said that was a mistake. Everyone will tell you that. You have to do a vertical liftoff, and we had done a horizontal. And Gavin went right back and said, okay, we're changing it to a vertical liftoff.
It was fun
thank
to have all
goodness.
these are really interesting, very smart people helping us out. Yeah.
Let's get some questions from the audience, because I know there's a few people that would like to ask you some stuff. Let's. Anyone have a question? We have this gentleman down here. Yes, sir. There's a microphone there for you.
Yeah, hi, I'm looking forward to seeing the film. I'm a big fan of Ender's Game. Read the book when I was in 7th grade, so really looking forward to seeing it. Can we expect to see Speaker for the Dead in the next few years, and then Xenocide and Children of the Mind? And also, have the actors read those books yet? I guess especially, Asa.
We think it's bad luck.
Should we start?
Bad luck to count your sequels before they hatch. We'd love to see what the reaction is to this movie and see what you think of it, and get feedback, and then off of that decide what the story is. In terms of, when did you read it? Was that the second part of the question?
I finished Ender's Game. I started reading Speak for the Dead. I haven't finished it yet, afraid to say, but I'm sure I will do in the near future.
It's very interesting. It's a great question, but the tricky thing with this saga is, unlike the Harry Potter books, which follow naturally one after the other, as you know from reading it, Speak of the Dead, I think the reason he lost a bit of interest is because Ende is 30 years older. So maybe he's thinking, really? So there are definitely issues with making a sequel. We either wait 30 years for Asa, or we find a story to tell that's in between that period of time. But as Bob says, let's not count our sequels before they hatch. Let's get on. We've all got our heads focused on this and see what happens.
I think Asa's saying, let's wait. Asa's like, no, waiting's definitely the way forward. Yes, this lady here. Pass that mic down. There we go. What's your question?
Hi, this question is mostly for Bob, Orci, and Gigi. I'm a film student, and I'm aspiring to be a producer. Now, it interests me that you say that 12 years to make this film happen, and I'm sure, there is some times of trouble and sometimes, can this really happen? I guess, as a person right now who's producing short films, one after another, getting funding through Kickstarter and everything, what do you recommend the most in order, to reach that audience you want to reach and get people's attention so you can keep going further and keep producing?
I think the thing you need more than anything to produce is tenacity. You just have to keep going. The number of times I was told you can't make this movie, I can't count. And then you find terrific people together to make something happen. But as the producer, you just can't stop. People will tell you can't do it. Just keep trying to get around it. You can find a way.
And we have time for just one final question. Is there anyone? Should we have this lady right here on the end?
Trailer looks great, by the way. I'm really excited to see it. I wondered if there was any particular way that the actors and director communicated, or if you had a shorthand, knew each other from before, or anything like that.
I just yell at them and they do what I say. No. I don't know, Asa, how do we communicate, my friend? Like normal human beings?
Like normal human beings. And if I'm honest, I have never worked with someone like Gavin before. It's an inspiration working with him. The amount of passion and energy he put in was I don't think anyone else on the film did.
Oh, thanks, Asa. I'm going to get all nostalgic now.
And that is why Gavin's going to wait 30 years for the sequel.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just sweet talking.
No, the preparation, here's what we had. We have a great cast. We have these fabulous young actors, and we have Harrison Ford and Sir Ben Kingsley and Viola Davis, these icons. And these young actors came onto set, and there was Harrison Ford, and we shot in sequence pretty much. So from the beginning, Asa was, he was way shorter than he is now, and he grew 2 inches through the course of the movie.
Hailee, did you grow? So I didn't track.
No, but I was taller than Asa when we started.
But the point is, he was up against Harrison Ford, so in the beginning, it's a little intimidating, and we just exploited that a little. Harrison didn't get too close to you too soon. You don't know this, but he kept his distance, and then by the end of the movie, where he's tough enough to go up against Harrison Ford, by then Asa had pretty much, lost the intimidation factor, and he gives him a real run for his money. So the important thing is that every actor is different, every actor is a personality, and you try to find the best way to help and know when to get out of the way, and when to help and when to get out of the way. And sometimes you get it right and sometimes you don't.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. That is unfortunately all the time we have for at the moment, but please join me in thanking. We've got Bob Orci. Thank you, Bob. Gigi Pritzker, Asa Butterfield, Hailee Steinfield, and of course the director, Mr. Gavin Hood.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
very
much.
The film is phenomenal on the 24th of October. Ladies and gentlemen, the stars and the creators of Ender's Game.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.